Hey everyone, so I made a couple of these whiskey barrels for rain collection to use for our little front garden we have going here, and I've had some neighbors walk by and ask some questions, so I just wanted to show them off a little bit, show you how I built them, hope it can help someone else if they want to build their own. This won't be a how to build follow-through video, but maybe I'll make one of those in the future as I do have one more of these barrels to build. So the barrel itself, I picked these barrels up, I found them on Facebook Marketplace. It was about $85 for this barrel. The first step in the process, they were actively being used to brew beer after they were used for whiskey, so they did have a little bit of beer in them and a lot of char. So the first thing I did is fill them up with some water from my garden hose, roll them back and forth across the yard to get a lot of that char out. And the actual diverter setup I have here is really simple. So this is an Oatey diverter for a 2x3 inch downspout. It was about $30 online. So that is the diverter I ended up going with. I've tested them out. They've been working well. They divert, I'd say, about 40% of the water that comes down the downspout. So if you're in a really dry area, they're not going to collect all the rainwater that goes down the downspout. That might be a factor to consider. But if you're in an area, I'm in Wisconsin, we get a lot of rain in the summer, or at least enough rain to the point where this will keep the barrel full with the 40% that is diverted, so I'm not worried about the water loss as much. So following the diverter down, basically have the fill hose. So the diverter comes with a rubber hose, but it is really kinked in the package. That's my one complaint with this kit. So I ended up going and getting 1.25 inch sump pump hose, and that's worked great. So to set that up in the actual barrel, I basically drilled down a hole that was a titch smaller in diameter than this galvanized fitting that I have. And then I just used a pipe wrench and basically threaded the wood, and it held in there plenty enough. So just make sure that you get the right size bits and you are planning out what you're going to drill and how you're going to put everything together. So I used hole saw bits for these. I know larger spade bits would work as well. So for the actual pump portion, I ended up getting this hand pump at Menards for about $40. So this can pump actually up to 25 feet deep, so you can use them for deeper applications, but for this it's a perfect pump for the rain barrel. So I just took a hole saw and basically drilled a hole underneath here for a galvanized pipe to pass through. It uses 1.25 inch galvanized pipe. So that is, I measured that out and inserted the pipe. And then the pump itself does need to be primed, so I just make sure to keep a watering can, fill it up when I'm done, and you just pour a little bit of water in the top, and basically it allows the leather to swell in the pump so that when you pump, you actually get suction. And then the last section of my setup here is the overflow. So instead of a closed system where basically the barrel fills and then as it backfills, the water would go and actually return back down through the downspout, I decided to just do this pass through. I feel like it's simpler, it's less likely to fail, and like I said, we get a lot of water here, so I'm okay if we lose a little bit of what goes in the barrels. So basically, same process as the connection on the top. Took a hole saw, I drilled out a hole slightly smaller than the outer diameter of this 1.25 inch galvanized fitting, and then threaded that in just using a pipe wrench, and just take your time, go slow, and it'll naturally thread. I did test the water seal. I used a little bit of Teflon tape for the threads, but I don't think really need to. It does not seep that much, and especially if you have water actively filling and overflowing, the little seepage you get out here isn't going to be the end of the world. Then just a couple of galvanized fittings. This is an 1.25 inch outer diameter with, again, sump pump hose. So basically once that's full, once the barrel is full, the water will come and just run out right where my downspout was. And depending on where you're located, another factor to consider is winterization. So I'm in Wisconsin, obviously we freeze pretty hard in the winter here. So my plan for winter is the Oatey kit comes with a plug that goes right in here. So basically I'm going to actually just disconnect the fill hose. I'm going to plug it here at the downspout so that if it melts or any rain comes later in the fall, once I winterize it, it'll just roll down the downspout. And then I will simply pump and empty the rain barrel as best I can. The galvanized fitting in the pipe in the bottom is only about 1 inch or a 1/2 inch off the bottom, so it'll basically get all the water out. And that's my winterization plan. So this is the first year, so I don't know how they will winterize yet, but from what I've read, that should take care of everything pretty great. And here's the rain barrel I have on the other side of the house. It's built the exact same way. So I hope you enjoyed this video of me just showing you my rain barrels and kind of what I did for my setup. I might make a video building my third one, but I hope that this is helpful to someone, and cheers.